Hi again. This is a continuation of my envelope journal series. This one is inspired by a mushroom series of digitals by Artie Mays or Andrea Allen, and she has a YouTube channel as well as a Facebook following. I took many different ideas from different things. None of this is original. I watched quite a few crafting videos with Tracy Fox, Andrea Allen, Wendy of Wendy's Journal Journey, Jean Kerr. There's so many of them that are just doing fantastic stuff out there. So I take bits and pieces from their creations and do my own little slant on it and then add it all together. Now this journal folds out in 4 pieces like my previous journals, but there's a lot of 3D components and ephemera that are either stationary or they're actually removable. I had actually quite a good time making this journal. I used some sculpting clay to make little dangles, little mushroom dangles. I used some heavier cardstock to make some different embellishments and played around with paper clips and different little ways to dangle things off your journals. So this one, it's got a lot of little things hanging here and there. So I'll take a bit of time to go through it. The base or the foundation of the journal is very similar. It was an 8.5 by 11 manila envelope. I put a heavy layer of gesso on it, let that dry. This one, I didn't use any jelly printing with it, but I used another series of napkins that I think I just bought at the superstore, and this one has large leaves on it that's just in a brown print. But it just seemed to really go with the theme of the mushrooms and the woodland kind of feeling. I've used a little more of the embellishments, little stones and things here and there in ribbon than in my past ones. So I guess the best thing to do is just to dive right in, and we'll look at some of the elements that are on the cover page. Down here, this is very 3D. There's lots of movable parts here that you'd have to be careful where you stored this one, because this is actually Irish moss, dry Irish moss on the bottom. And I made these mushrooms out of tea bags, dried tea bags, where you take out the insides of the tea bag, the actual tea grounds, dry your tea bags, and then I stain them. And then you just kind of put glue on them and scrunch them up and form them into the mushroom formation. So I was quite happy with them. And then I stained them a little bit with some Tim Holtz stain. I believe there's 4 of these little cards, and I'm not sure where I got these, if this was Graphics Fairy or something I got from Artie Mays. I'm going to have to start making notations to put in the books where things came from. But there's actually 4 of these cards, and I've glued them onto some really heavy cardstock. I mean, you can't even bend them. Then they have a paper clip that I glued inside, so you can stick it onto a page. And then there's 2 of the bulb clips that go into a Sculpey mushroom. And I was really this was my first attempt at using Sculpey, and I was really quite happy with how these turned out. Not sure if we can, how close I can get with that. But I mean, you can get quite detailed, if you take your time. So I was quite happy with that. So there's one of the little tags that you can just take off and use somewhere else. Now on this fold, as I said, this folds out. Here's another tag from the same series. And so I don't rip this, there was another tag sitting in here. And this one has another little Sculpey mushroom on it. And I believe that's probably one of those poisonous ones they talk about with the red tops and the white bumps on them, but they're quite cute. And again, Here's a little card. This one, because it would have shown here, as I had it in there, I put a little banner and a piece of lace just to camouflage that pin a little bit more. So when you first open it up, and here's your folds like our other one, I've inserted, let's get this out of the way for a minute. I've inserted, I don't even know what you would call this. I know Nick the Booksmith has that kind of a cute name for it, but I can't think of what it is right now. But this was just a manila envelope that I cut in half, and I sewed together up at the top for a different orientation instead of opening it up flapwise. And each of these sides has an insert hole. I've used a little tag here that says escape, and the other one has explore. And again, I've hung little mushrooms on it with the bulb pin. Now the neat thing about this, it depends on what color variation you want. Here is the same as the outside with the brown leaf, or you can just flip it around and have a more colorful one. And this one has butterflies and roses and things. So it's all up to you. You can just, whatever suits your fancy. But that would just be inserted in, or it could be used, could be tucked on the outside. It's just kind of a neat little addition. So, back to this. Okay, let's get you in frame here. So I left it very plain. Yeah, this must be another card. Yeah, here's another one. There's our fourth one. And again, this has got a little decorative design on the pin, so it would, where it was showing here. So this is gesso and tissue, and I've stamped a little bit on it. I've put some of the little Denison labels on there. And when you open it up, we'll just look at each side. This side here has a belly band, and there's some little brads there. The card is, and I think some of these papers are probably Artie Maze's, and she has a series on mushrooms. So I have her card there originally, and I've sewed around, and it looks like I've probably put some vintage photo. Then I superimposed one of my tea bag mushrooms on top, and there's some rhinestones down the side. So that would just go in our little tuck spot here. Down here, we have a little coin envelope that we see in other journals. A different color though. Instead of the orangey color, these are the little tan ones, and it said Art Journal, and I stamped a number down there. Inside, I just tucked a little vintage receipt, and the way I glued it was just down on the bottom, and I left the top open for another tuck spot. And I've got some of these vocabulary cards that we've seen in my other journals, and they come quite white, so I've used vintage photo on them just to tone them down just a little bit to go with the grunginess of the journal. And there's also a tuck spot here. So here's a tuck spot on this side, and here's a larger tan colored change envelope, and another 3D tag. Now this one, instead of the mushrooms, I still have used the moss. I put a little bit of cheesecloth, some purple stones here, and these are two dried flowers that I just superimposed on top. And I believe in all these, I've put the napkin motif on the back just to keep the theme going. So because these tags are more 3D than other ones that you've seen in the past, you'll put actually less in your journal. And I think that's probably why I've added this pull away one that you could actually add into that and keep separately. So when we open this side, here's another one of mushroom tags. This time I've got a paper clip that has some lace on it off to the side. Again, a nice little tea bag version there. I've used a set of tags just to make a little belly band there, and this is one of the envelopes that was on the Artie Mays site that you could get. It's tucked in there. And then in this tuck spot, I've made a little notepad. A little more colorful, but it still has the same color palette as the others. And it's just the craft kind of paper in there. And that's a piece of ribbon there where I just stitched across to hold it together. And on this side, we have another one of those cards or tags with the removable lace-covered paperclip. Looks like just a little daisy and some other type of weed that I found out in the yard, superimposed on Artie Mays' card. Some other yellow stones down here, and I've got some jute down here this time, and it's tucked in behind the moss. Another deep pocket. And I just left this flat because we had these placed on top of them. And you really don't want to have the paper clip dragging over too much of your work, because it does tend to rip things if you're not careful. So this would all just go back together. And with this, I like to just let it come up the top a little bit, and that way your dangles don't get caught in your ribbon. And you close it up, and it is sticking up a little bit on the top. But I like that. Okay, so that's mushrooms. I think my next video will be actually using envelopes like the size, I think like 5x7 that you would get with greeting cards. And again, they are ones that I've repurposed from cards I've received from family and friends. So I hope you join me for that journal share, and have a good day, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.